one else can help. And if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
Okay, everybody, welcome to this first unofficial or maybe official iPad meeting at this university. It's a big honor for me and Anita to have you all here. Actually, we didn't expect so many people to show up, so it's a big surprise, a pleasant surprise. Actually, the idea was born during the Christmas dinner when I was in the waiting line with Anita, and she said, like, we should do something, you know, gather some people and come together and do this meeting. You know, just for people like us who love the iPad. And actually, it happened. So here we are, together in this iPad meeting. Let's actually start with something that is, I think, nice to know for us all, because you're all employees at the University of Maastricht. And what some of you don't know is that it's possible to log in to the server of the university. So you can get access to your private files on the server. And there is a free program, it's called AnyConnect. And AnyConnect is what you call a tool to access the server, so you can log on with your personal login name and your password. We'll show you it in a few seconds. So it's quite easy, actually. You can download the app for free in the App Store. That's why I also put some information on the app. What you do, actually, you only have to add a connection. The name of the connection is vpn.maastrichtuniversity.nl. And if you add this, you can actually log into your private server. Due to the fact that the Apple iPad always displays the password that I'm typing in, you will all see my password. So that's why I already logged in here, as you can see. As you can see here in the upper corner, you see here the symbol. It means that you're connected to the network. So once you're logged in, you will see this icon. Well, why I'm showing you this is because now you have a lot of things that you could normally not do with the iPad, such as, for instance, of course, access your personal folders. Together with the guys from the computer department, I spent some time investigating which program is actually able to let you browse your personal files. And we came across one program. It's called File Browser. That's the second one on the list. And if you download this program, it costs like €4. You can actually add your personal folder to this program. So now you have access to your personal files. I'll show you the program. It's like this. It's quite simple, actually. What you do when you want to add your own folder, you just click the plus here, and then it gives you some options. And the only thing you have to do is you have to add your own personal address here. The address, I put it down here, is UMFS009 and so on. And you only have to change your personal name here. Once you add this here, you can actually connect to the server, and then you get like this here, like your remote files process like this. And when you have added these personal files, you can access the server, and it asks you for your username and your password. And once you enter the password, you get access to all the folders. You can drag the folders, you can copy them, you can access the files. So in this way, you have access to your personal space. What is also nice, of course, once you're logged into the university network, you can also make use of site info or all the other tools to search for articles that would normally not be possible because you have to be logged onto the network. Something I discovered this week, which is also quite nice actually, I was searching for a decent dictionary, but it was quite difficult. First of all, they're expensive. I believe they're more than €20 to buy one for the iPad. But actually we have a very nice dictionary here at the university, which you can access for free if you're a member of the university. So what you can do is once you're logged into the network, as we've shown here, you can simply get access to this online dictionary by entering the URL that is put down here. Just what I'm doing first is I go to the web browser. Oh, sorry. Go to the web browser and I enter the address that is depicted here is packet7 van Dalen.nl. So I will do this to show you what it looks like. Well, I can also show you what it's like when you, because I've already made the shortcut. If you type in the URL that's depicted here, you get like this. And this is actually the online dictionary, which gives you access to all the different dictionaries that are available at the university. So you can actually direct access them. And I think it's a nice tip in general. If you have a personal website or a website that you visit often, you can make an icon of this website. So you don't have to enter the address all the time again in your again and again in your browser, but you can access it directly. I also displayed this here on the handouts. What you do is simply press this button here, and then you get a lot of options here. One of them is set in the beginscam, so put in the home screen, you could say. And if you do this, you get the option of naming it. You just give it a name, for instance, like dictionary or whatever, and then you click voeg toe or add, and it will actually be displayed as a separate icon, as you can see here. So now the only thing you have to do when you want to access the dictionary is just press the icon and it shows up. The same, of course, applies to the search engines for articles like site info. Again, you can first access the site by means of Safari or your web browser, and then again make an icon of it so you can access it directly. Yes, Anna?
And the URL then for the e-journals, is that?
Oh, I did not put it here. You have to check it. You just have to check what it is. You can access it.
You can just check it at your normal computer.
Yes,
and then
exactly.
Okay.
It's always the same. So when you go to the main site of the University of Maastricht, you enter the UB, University Library,
Okay.
and then you can search for URL. Just copy paste it. Will do. I think one of the most important programs that is on my personal iPad is Quick Office, and I think many of you are familiar with Pages, which is a product of Apple itself, and Pages is, I think, quite nice. They also have Pages, as you can see here. But there is one big disadvantage of Papers, and that includes the fact that it doesn't actually let you create folders. So it puts every document in one big store, you could say. So it's really difficult if you have a lot of documents to find them, because you're not really used to or you do not have a complete overview of what's going on. And one nice thing about Quick Office is that it allows you, as you can see here, for instance, to make folders, and also to rename folders, edit them. But the best thing is yet to come, which I will address in a few seconds. It is fully integrated with Dropbox, Google Documents, and all other online services. So this is really cool because you can now share things instantly. You don't have to connect your computer to the iPad again, but you can do it all online. So this is a big advantage. So let me just briefly explain Quick Office. Well, again, it's quite simple. As you can see here in the right corner, you have this option to choose a different format. And this is also very nice because you can choose different formats in which you want to create the document. And it's compatible, of course, with PC and other formats, whereas Pages often uses the Pages format, which is not compatible, for instance, with Word. So this is, I think, in terms of compatibility, a better option to choose than Pages. But again, it's also kind of a preference you have. So let me, for instance, start with a document 2003 format. I just enter it, and it gives you immediate access to the document. Yeah. What is nice here is that you can print it to a server, but you can also save it directly as a PDF. So if you want to actually transform the document to a PDF, for instance, because you want somebody not to edit it, or for instance, if you want to edit it in another program, like Goodreader, which we'll also discuss later, you can do this as well. If you want to save it, it's quite simple. You don't have too many options. You just click close. We'll have to type in something because it's now save. Now it gives you the option here to name the file. So we'll name it like test, for instance. I press save here, and it saves the file. So as you can see, it's now below in the list. Here it is. And if I wanted to, for instance, drag it to a folder, like this folder here, this folder, I put it there. What is nice, as I was telling you, is that you can easily access the file. But the cool thing is that you can actually transfer it to, for instance, Dropbox. And
But we had huge problems with it.
what is
Yeah, because we were actually storing our entire lab's data, which are something like 50, 100 folders with
Whoa.
each 10, 15 documents in.
Okay.
Folders kept disappearing, files kept disappearing, they
Whoa.
reappeared.
Really?
Yeah, so I think it's a different story if you have like I don't know, 30, 40 Word documents, or
Yeah.
whether you use it as a substantial archive for your lab.
Yeah.
It was not capable of reliably
Okay.
storing files. for us.
Okay.
Maybe
Uh,
just-
Okay. Yeah. Personally, I have a professional account, so I have the 50 gigabyte version.
that's what we had.
Okay, but it's good to know because I know some people also have decided to use that instead of the personal folder on the university as their private space. But
So
maybe it's not that safe. If
we're
I
switching to Box in the moment. Sounds similar?
yeah, I
but,
know that. Yeah.
Box.
Box. Yeah. But in general, I think if you take a look at Dropbox as one of the options, I think it's a pretty good option because it allows you actually to work with the folder structure. For instance, I can now access my Dropbox here directly, so it's my online space. You see, it's accessing it now. This is my personal Dropbox. And what is nice here is that it's syncing with every computer that has Dropbox installed. So for instance, at my home computer, at my laptop here, at my work, it's exactly the same file structure in the files that you see here. So whatever you do at your iPad, you can sync it with the Dropbox. And this is especially necessary when you want to work with Goodreader program to read PDF files in the most optimal way, because then you can sync folders actually between your Dropbox and your iPad. So this program allows you, it's like a big office kind of thing. It allows you to create documents. For instance, you can make a spreadsheet, which is actually an Excel file, and so on. It works a lot by drag and drop, so you can also get rid of things by putting it here in the bin, or directly mail a document. So you can mail it directly to somebody, which is, I think, is also quite nice. Another option that I really often use is the fact that you can actually do multitasking. When you press the home button twice, you see the programs that are open here. And this gives you the possibility of actually choosing between different programs. So for instance, if I want to use Goodreader, which is a program which I will discuss later, you can switch between the programs. For instance, you can select text that is displayed in this program, and at the same time, while clicking on the home button twice, access this program and say, well, I want to save some of this, and I want to paste it, for instance, which I will discuss later. But this is actually my preference when it comes to Office. Also, I was looking for a decent calendar. I think the one that is now in the new operating system version is quite nice. It allows you to drag and drop. But what I still miss is the use of colors. If you have different types of appointments, for instance, or if you want to separate the private life from your work life, you can not do so in an easy way. So I use MyCal, which is I think it looks nice. But the nice thing is that you can use colors. So you can actually, for instance, I use light blue colors for 3 days, different types of assignments. It has a really nice overview of the month, which I also think is not that handy when it comes to the standard agenda. So personally, I like this one, really. You also have here, as you can see on the left, you can see the things that are upcoming, the things to do. Okay, so let's move on. Another cool thing I discovered this year is that you can actually use a pen with your iPad, which makes it pretty useful if you want to, for instance, make comments or draw stuff or whatever. You can actually use it as a paper now. And whereas I have a quite old one, I just received a very new one. It's not yet available here in Holland, but this one is even more. It's actually really a fine piece because you can really make a nice detailed drawings with this. I can give you an example, for instance. What I do when I, for instance, have a brainstorm with students and I want to make a drawing of the design of an experiment, I use this program. It's called Pen Ultimate. And Pen Ultimate is actually is a note block. Oh, funny. Doesn't show the complete interface here. That's fine.
Oh.
But anyway, so what I can do with this pen, I can, for instance, make a design here and draw it. So, control, condition, dependent. Whatever you want, you can do it in this way. So you can make any drawing. And the cool thing about it is that you can directly export the file and send it by mail. So if I had this brainstorm and I had made this drawing with my student, I just mail it directly to him or her. So he has a nice way. Yeah. This is
What's the brand?
Moet je Mark vragen.
Mark, yeah. Explain.
I'll tell you a better story. It's not yet available here. There's one website that's importing it right now, iPodhoes.nl. We're working on it. I'm Mark from Evisie, by the way, Apple reseller. We're working on it to get it over here. We have a quote request to get them to Holland.
Okay, cool.
Because no one has them, but they are so much better to write with than the things with the thicker tip. I've had it for 1 week and I threw out the others. The difference is it's not a rubber tip,
Yes.
but it's a metallic tip with a rubber disc on it.
Yes.
Because of the disc, you don't scratch your iPad. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Not to scratch your
And what
iPad.
was the brand, Hugo?
A donut.
A donut. It said the young. Oh, it's
A donut with a T. A donut, and the pen's called Jot Pro.
I done it.
I done it. Yeah. I think it is especially handy when you want to use it as a way to comment papers or give feedback to students, for instance. Which brings me to the next program, which is called Goodreader. And Goodreader is a program that allows you a lot of things to do, but it's there to actually open PDF files in the first place. So let me open Goodreader and show you what it's all about. So this is Goodreader, and Goodreader is quite straightforward. What you see here are folders that I put on my iPad in this program. And for instance, if I access books, I can. These are all folders. So for instance, general psychology, I open self-regulation. So I have 12 books on self-regulation. When I, for instance, open the handbook of emotion regulation, it displays the book and it also remembers the page where it was the last time. So this, for instance, the handbook of emotion regulation. Nice with cover and so on. What is really cool about this is that you now can not only make annotations, as you can see here. For instance, I can put a comment here and say, well, I just want to remember something I read here and I want to maybe use it later. What it asks you to do is, do you want to save the comment that you make into this PDF file? So yeah, I say, well, let's do that. Save it to this file. So I can now add a comment to this, save it. And the cool thing is it can be opened as well on your PC or your Mac. So it saves this information. So now there is a comment. But what is really nice about this is that you can also make selections. Let's select this text, mark it. And what I often do is when I want to have a summary of a book, because often I forget a lot of stuff that I read, and I want to have a clear summary, what I do, I access this, I say, well, copy this text, and I use the multitasking, so I access Quick Office again, and say, here, well, paste this text. So there is a text again, and I move back to the Goodreader again, so just to keep track of all the things that are happening. Sorry? Yes?
Are you familiar with iAnnotate?
Yes, I also have it, yes.
Okay.
I just recently discovered that, yeah, it was also very nice. Actually, I'm not an expert, Ivo knows more about it, so I'm just discovering its potential, but I'm now used to this program. But iAnnotate is also beautiful, and it has some nice advantages, because it gives you a nice way to scroll through the pages. I can also open it in a few seconds. Yeah. What is cool here is that you can also, if you click the icon here that with the curly waveform, you can make drawings in the PDF. For instance, you can say, well, this is difficult, for instance. So you can also use it actually as a pen if you would do normally and save this. Yeah. So what I'm going to show you now is, I think, the most handy feature of Dropbox, because now you can always synchronize the documents that you have available on Dropbox or any other service. Also, put a small description here on the handout. So what it allows you to do is to add a server. For instance, if I say, well, I have a lot of folders on my Dropbox account which entail a lot of articles or books, and I want to have them put on my iPad, but I want to have them sync. So every time I change something here, when I add a comment or whatever, I also want them to be changed in my Dropbox. Or, for instance, when I go to a meeting and I have some documents that I normally would print because I have to bring them to the meeting, I can also use them and put them directly by means of syncing on my iPad. So this is why I see this folder here. It's called Docs for Temp Reading, Docs for Temporary Reading. These are all documents that are not there for always. They're just temporary things like to-do things. This is for a meeting that I had with an editorial board, so I had to read these articles, to-do stuff, papers from students. But also, for instance, for a meeting, if you have a meeting and there are a lot of papers that you have to read, you don't have to print them. You can actually put them here by means of Dropbox, which I will show you, and then you have them instantly available on your iPad. Saves a lot of paper. So what you do then is the following. You see on the right side, you see a lot of options here. And what you can do is you choose the option Connect to Service. And if you press Add here, you see a lot of options that you can choose from. The box that is also there, as you can see.
Oh.
See? And in this case, I chose Dropbox. It asks you to give a title, so how do you want to call it in this program? Just name it Dropbox, whatever. And here you enter your credentials. So you enter your username and your password. And then what happens? It logs on to Dropbox, and you see this icon here, Dropbox. If you click it, it gives you direct access to your Dropbox. And now you can make a selection. So for instance, I have this book folder here, or I have this article folder here. So let's say I want to sync this folder, the articles that I have put on my Dropbox, with this program. I press Sync below. Okay, in this case, I already synced this folder, so it says it's not possible. You already synced this folder. I can choose this one, but it's quite big. Well, maybe you can choose this one. Then it will tell you that the folder you selected will be automatically downloaded and tagged for synchronization. In the future, simply press the Sync button in Web Download section to synchronize this folder with its remote version on the server. Now please choose a target folder for the download. So now it actually asks you where do you want to store it within the program. So you can choose the location. For instance, just in the root of the folder here, you can say, well, just put it here, download and synchronize. So what it will do now, it will, you see it's here, folder is here, but nothing happened yet. It also only put it there. What you have to do is to synchronize it. And this is the only thing you have to do when you want to make your documents on your iPad and your Dropbox in sync. You have to go to this menu here. It's called the Web the Web Downloads menu, and there you see these green icons. So if I want to sync the folder that I just put on my document here, I press the boeken uitwisseling, and it's now going to download it. And you see what happens. It downloads the folders from the server, from Dropbox. But in the same way, if you sync, for instance, the folder that I just accessed with the books, and it works in two ways. It looks for new books on the server, but at the same time, it uploads the annotations and the comments that I put in the PDF file. So it works in both ways. It just makes it compatible and sync. So it's possible to make real handy annotations and actually use it as if it were paper. So comments. So far, good reader. Any more questions about this? Because I think this is one of the most handy programs for us as researchers or students.
There's another nice feature in the annotations. If you mark text, so for example, you have a file with 100 pages and you marked stuff in between, you can export only the marked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
So you can make a summary from your marked text.
Nice. Oh,
In GoodReader.
In GoodReader. Yeah.
cool. What is also nice is some other features that you can see here below.
Yeah.
You can, for instance, search for keywords. If I say, well, I want to know something about emotions, well, which is quite obvious, of course, because the complete book is about emotions. But it says, well, this is the first instance of this, second instance, and so on and so on. So if you want to play videos, I would strongly suggest this player. What is cool is it also plays subtitles, SRT files. Well, that doesn't work, it seems. It doesn't play it here. It does play here at the screen, but obviously it has some problems with transferring it to the big screen.
Hoe heet dat, zei?
AV player.
Oké.
Yeah, it's a nice one. Another program that is nice, it's not so difficult, just install it and you can add content by, I would suggest to add content by means of the cable and your computer, because often movies are quite big and to upload them can take quite some time. So if you want to add movies to your iPad, I would suggest to use the standard transfer cable. A downside, of course, of the iPad is that it's not possible to play FLV files or Flash files. But there is a way to circumvent this problem, and it's called Xplayer. And this program does not allow you to play them online, as you would do normally, but it can help you to play files that you have downloaded as FLV. For instance, if you download a video that is encoded as FLV, which is standard format for Flash movies, you can also play it by means of this. For instance, this is actually
Oh ja.
oh, there it is, yeah. So you see, this is obviously a web download because the quality is quite crappy. But you can actually use them if you want. For instance, if you have a lecture and you want to display some movies that are not able, that can normally not be exposed by this device, you can use it by means of this player.
Nico,
Yeah,
I
sure.
see you also have AirVideo installed. That's also a nice application to stream video from your personal computer to the iPad.
Ah, this
You
one.
can
Yes.
practically play any file you like.
Oké.
This is AirVideo free.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I've never used it so far.
It's really easy. Just
Yes.
stream any content. You can stream it from your PC to the iPad.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And even send it to TV if you have an Apple TV.
Yeah.
I use it a lot at home, so I don't have to transfer files from the computer to the iPad.
You just
I
stream
still
them.
play them on the Apple TV.
Wow.
AirVideo.
free.
So it's streaming app. Cool. Thanks.
The free one allows you to have 3 folders, and there is a paid one for $240 or something that's unlimited.
Cool.
Oké.
Yeah.
There's also a nice application called Air Display. You can use your iPad as a second monitor.
Yeah, I have that as well. It's
Air display?
Air
Yeah.
display?
yeah, I have it. Yeah, there it is. Air display.
Oh, wow.
You can use it indeed as a second monitor, so you can also make it a touchscreen of your second monitor. It's nice, yeah. So this allows you to have a second monitor. But I have to be honest, it works, but it's not really fast. You know, it's quite slow. So that's the downside of the program. But it's indeed possible to extend your current monitor and use it. And I'm not sure if this one is free. I believe it. No, you have to pay some, right? Yeah. Also a nice app, which is more like a fun thing, but I think it's nicely done. It's called the 8mm HD, and it's for making movies. And as you all know, you can make movies with the iPad, but this one allows you to make like the retro movies.
Oh!
You see? So you can choose here the type of filter that you want to use.
Ja.
60s.
Ja, het is...
60s, the hill is 60s, and then you can, if you want, upload it directly to, for instance, Facebook or whatever you want. It's the 8mm HD. Things I would really love to share with you before we leave, and one of them is a Flipboard. I'm not sure. Has anybody heard of Flipboard so far?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what RSS feeds are? RSS feeds. Yes? No. This is actually also quite nice because an RSS feed is something that is put down on many weblogs or pages that are updated frequently. So if you, for instance, take a look at, well, you could add a journal page, for instance. If you want to get updated every time a new article is published or a new edition is there from a journal, you can add yourself to an RSS feed. Just type in RSS feed and you get a lot of information on it. So most websites which are updated frequently have a personal RSS feed URL, so website. And the problem is that it's quite some work to always check the newest and the latest feeds that are available. So there is a really nice app, it's a free app actually, it's called Flipboard, which allows you to get access to all the RSS feeds directly, so it updates every time you load the program, the latest feeds, and it gives you a really nice interface. So I'm really into music making and so on. So for me it's interesting, for instance, to check things like movies or music making. And this is also nice. For instance, 5pix is a weblog. There's a lot of people who are professional photographers who post their latest photos. So as you can see, what the app does, it makes the website into a really nice, like a newspaper kind of thing. So this is mostly about photos, but it can also be, for instance, like this is a new thing about new. New information, new releases in the scene of music making and so on. And it's really nice because it feels like you're reading a newspaper while you're in real life. You're actually reading a website. It does it in a really neat way. Also a nice one, weblog. The Fancy, there's a lot of nice 1.5 things. And you can add your personal page by just clicking, let me do that again. By clicking this icon here, this shows up and you can add the URL, so the web page that you want to add, and it adds the content automatically. Or you can also search, of course, people. It gives you also some suggestions. And it also has an autocomplete function, so if you type in something, it autocompletes. It's a really nice app. You can also add nu.nl or whatever site you want, news sites, newspaper sites, whatever. So definitely check out Flipboard. Also, free app is also really nice, I think, is Wunderlist, it's called, and this is a to-do app. Yes, stuff that I have to do, things that I want to write, and so on. And the nice thing is that you can share stuff with people. So, for instance, stuff that I have to do in private, I have to check something. On yeah, I need anti-coke. It's there on my to-shop list, so I have to buy this because of the cleaning lady said it was missing, so I have to buy this. So, and the nice thing is, imagine there was a deadline for this because she's showing up tomorrow. I can say, well, let's take this and due date. When does this have to be completed? So you can get a reminder by email. Or you can get what they call a push message, which the icon shows you like you have one task to complete. The nice thing is you can, once it's completed, you just name it. You say, well, I bought the article, and then it moves below. But the nice thing about this program is that you can share it with people. So you can share a to-do list. So if I have a project, let's say with Anna and I have a project, I could share the list with Anna. I can see what she has completed, and she can see what I have completed. So it's really nice to manage to-do tasks with more than one people. So you can share, for instance, if you press this button here, you can add an email address and this person will get notified. Also what is cool here is that you can, that is updated online. So you have a private account online, so you can also install, for instance, this to-do list program on your computer, on your PC. So it's synced all the time.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, sure.
If you use this sort of principle, getting things done is a very good self-management tool.
Okay.
But there it's also important not to have endless to-do lists, but also contexts. And that's of most programs is missing.
The
They're just to-do lists.
Yeah, exactly.
And a very nice program is OmniFocus,
Okay.
which is pretty elaborate, maybe not quite as easy digestible as a to-do list, but if you really want stealth with getting things done, it's sensational.
Yes,
And
OmniFocus.
the guys who made Wunderlist also released WunderKit a week ago.
Oh,
It's in beta now, and that's one step further than Wunderlist. So
Okay.
you have different workspaces,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
typical
what you need.
contacts,
Yeah.
and
exactly.
it's very social. So you can comment on tasks and notes, and it's
Okay.
very easy for online collaboration.
Nice.
Right.
And how much yours cost?
WunderKit.
OmniFocus.
And they have a web-based version right now and an iPhone version, and they're working towards iPad and
Cool, cool. So it's the one was OmniFocus and
Yeah.
the other one was
But OmniFocus is expensive, so
But it's really good. It's really good. It's really good.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the.
If you only use it on the iPad, it's 30, I guess.
Yeah.
$32.
Yeah.
32, yeah.
Or euros.
And they have fantastic support. You know, that's also not very often. So
They help you with your
help
tasks.
you, yeah. What you mind?
Okay. Evernote is also nice. It's a way to keep notes. It's also a free program. So, for instance, if somebody says, "Well, you have to read this book," what I do, I normally put it down a note and I forgot where I put the note. And now you just make a category. So you say, "Well, interessante book. These are books I just have to read because people advise them." And this is an overview. So you can make a new note. Give it a title.
Maar daarom ja.
And I can add content to it. So it's also nice, a simple program just to keep track of notes that you make. It's a free program, just check it out. It's also synced online, so you can also download it to your PC and
Evernote.
always have access to it. I know that many people are a fan of Apple because of its simplicity, and I'm a fan of that as well. But one of the things that is sometimes for me a bit difficult is that it's hard to work with folder structures. And I really like having folders and an overview of all the stuff that I'm doing. And so one of the first things I installed when I got my iPad was iFiles. And iFiles is a program that allows you to work in a Windows kind of way. And this program, for instance,
Hallo.
yeah, I know it's like Vroeg in the cat. But for instance, when it comes to music, you can use, of course, iTunes or whatever program you want to use, and also to play the music. But if you have a lot of music, it's difficult because you cannot make folders and so on. So you can easily get lost. For instance, also the same applies to pictures. It works fine if you have like 10 albums, but if you have more than 10 or maybe 50 albums, you have like endless scroll lists and so on. No?
Je kunt toch folders maken?
Because for instance, for me it works like a nice way. For instance, if you take movies or music, classical music, I can easily access all the stuff in this way. But it's just, again, it's a preference. If you like it in another way as well. But if just want you to know that it's possible to work in a Windows-based way on your iPad. And in some cases it's unnecessary, but what is really handy here is, for instance, if you want to access Dropbox again, you also have a nice file browser. So if I have a Dropbox account, I can use the Dropbox app that is also free to download, but you can also use this app. And what you see here is, this is my Dropbox again, and you can do all the stuff that Windows can also do, like copy stuff. Open in, for instance, I'm going to open this and choose a program.
So I can open the songs, for example, the MP3 via iTunes.
Yeah, for instance, if you want to, yeah, you can do this one. But it's more like a browser, like a web browser, a file browser. So it's a file browser system, which sometimes works nice. Google Docs, you can also access it in this way. If you want to access remote servers, if you have an FTP server at home, if you have another network that you want to access, you can also use this program to access it. So I think it's nice.
I use Papers and I really love this program on the computer and also on the iPad. You have all your literature with you when you're on holiday, so you can read every time. It's really nice to use. Yeah. It's a kind of iTunes for your scientific articles.
But you do need a Mac for that, right? To sync the papers with your desktop.
Yeah, I do it with a Mac. Yeah. I think
I've tried it with PC, but it's not really
No,
well integrated.
it's a Mac program. Yeah.
And you can share literature.
Yes, you can synchronize it through the Bluetooth.
but you can also make groups with other colleagues, so
Yeah.
share
Yeah, you can
certain
share
papers
too.
and
Yeah.
share
Yeah.
notes
Yes.
you make.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
You
Yeah.
just need to get a Mac.
What?
You need
You need to get a Mac.
Yeah, you need to get a Mac. Yeah, yeah. It's very essential for scientists.
If you use mind maps to make.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Actually, we discovered this last year, Ivo and I, and we're completely amazed by its potential, because normally you make a lot of drawings and stuff, and this program is called MindMeister. It allows you to make mind maps online, so they're stored online.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really cool. What you can do with this program is make mind maps. You can also give colors to this thing, but it can give you really, it's a nice way of providing an overview of ideas that you have and branching and all this stuff. You can do this very simply. For instance, if I want to add something, I add a new note here. So, well, maybe I shouldn't do this in this map. Share it with other people. So this is, for instance, an example map that the program gives you. And in this way, you can easily manage complex projects that have more. Yes.
I have a question. In the tutor groups that I tutor, lots of people bring their iPads, and we are looking for a program like this, but where we can actually all together join in the mind map.
That can be done with this.
Is that possible?
Yes, you can share it. Yes. Actually, Ivo and I are working together on maps. So what we do is we share this map, and you can have like 5 maps, I think, for free, and then you have to pay.
Okay.
But yeah, it saves so much time, because it's a very intuitive way of writing things down and brainstorming, and you can cluster it immediately, so it works perfectly.
Because up to now we're doing it on the whiteboard and taking pictures with the iPhone and transferring it into the iPad. And we tried this one, but we only found a program where there's one who can write in it, and the other can have it at the end. But we would like to have it interactive during.
You can see who is editing. Actually, it tells you if you're like with 3 or 4 more people editing at the same time. It tells you now this person is editing, this is available, and so on. So you get a complete update every time you're running the program. It's beautiful. Actually, I wasn't really much into this kind of map making, but it's phenomenal. It really helps. Yeah.
There's also something called Poplets, and it's kind of the same idea. I think this one looks better.
Okay.
And it also has a web version, so people who don't have an iPad or don't have an iPhone can also join it.
Same applies to this one. Okay. There's also a web-based interface, so everybody who does not have an iPad, but just a laptop or a Mac or whatever, can access the same map online. So that's a cool thing. I think if I speak for Anita and me, we would like to thank you all, of course, for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
If no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.